Welcome to this journey into dreams, consciousness, and, well, the hidden layers of reality.
It's quite a deep topic we're diving into today.
Absolutely. In this story, the author really takes us through her own path of awakening. It starts from a time of deep questioning, even despair, really.
And leads to this discovery of what she calls idea construction.
Exactly. And her early poetry, it captures that raw, vulnerable moment right before everything shifted, when life just felt empty, maybe even frightening.
But it was precisely that crisis, that profound need, that seems to have opened the door to a new kind of knowing.
Yeah, through dreams and these other altered states, she started to glimpse this inner universe, a deeper reality sort of beneath physical life.
And that's our entry point to Seth, whose teachings on dreams and consciousness really form the heart of this exploration.
Right. So our mission today, essentially, is to unpack how a deeply personal struggle can become the catalyst for, well, an extraordinary breakthrough in understanding reality itself. So let's jump right in then. Our source material explains that the author initially didn't quite grasp why this whole idea construction thing happened to her.
No, she didn't.
She even describes it as an invasion, which is a strong word, an invasion of her consciousness. Before we get into her journey, maybe you could give us a clearer picture. What exactly is idea construction in this context? Is it just a way of thinking, or is it something more fundamental?
That's a great place to start. For anyone maybe encountering this idea for the first time, idea construction is, well, it's quite a radical insight.
Okay.
It basically posits that our thoughts and beliefs aren't just internal mental things happening in our heads.
Right.
Instead, they're the actual building blocks, the ideas from which our physical reality is constructed.
Wow, okay. So consciousness isn't passive.
Not at all. It suggests a really profound active role for consciousness in shaping existence, not just observing it. So what happened to her felt like an invasion because she wasn't consciously doing it. Yet it was clearly happening through her.
That's a powerful distinction right there. So she's experiencing this fundamental shift, this invasion, but doesn't immediately understand its origin or how it works. How did she even begin to piece together the puzzle of this profound, almost alien experience and connect it back to her own life?
Well, what's key here is that it was the actual process of preparing for this book, the one focused on dreams and subjective experiences, that led her to that deeper self-examination.
The writing itself sparked it.
Exactly. Yeah. She revisited her own personal records and, crucially, her early poetry. And these weren't just, aesthetic creations for her anymore.
They became clues.
Vital clues, yes. Her poetry gave her this raw, unfiltered record of her thoughts and emotions from that specific time.
Like a subjective time capsule.
Precisely. Reading these old poems allowed her to see a clear continuity in her life, a direct link between her experiences before and after her psychic abilities seemed to open up.
Okay.
And she came to realize she had unknowingly reached what she calls a developmental crisis.
Developmental crisis? Tell me more about that.
It's described as this really profound, sometimes challenging period, often in early adulthood, where you either grow towards a new kind of expanded understanding of existence, or conversely, you risk losing much of the purpose and vitality of youth. It's a real fork in the road, psychologically speaking.
That idea of a developmental crisis, I think many of us can probably relate to that feeling, right? That crossroads where the old ways of seeing things just don't work anymore.
Definitely.
The sources suggest this author believed that intuitive knowledge often opens up based on the sheer intensity of someone's personal need, even if they don't consciously recognize that need.
Yes, that was her feeling.
Does the text elaborate on why such intense personal need would be like a prerequisite for these channels to open?
It does, actually. Her introspection led her to believe that when our usual rational, outward-facing ways of dealing with things feel like they've hit a wall, when our normal approaches to solving problems or understanding just fail us, that's often when an internal shift becomes possible.
So like necessity is the mother of invention, but on a psychic level.
Kind of, yeah. It's almost as if that profound sense of insufficiency or even despair creates sort of vacuum that these new forms of knowledge rush in to fill. It really speaks to the idea that sometimes hitting rock bottom mentally or emotionally, can be the very thing that forces a radical shift in how we see everything.
That's where it gets really interesting, because our sources, they include these powerful excerpts from her poems, mostly from the spring and summer of 1963.
Right before the shift.
Exactly. And they paint this vivid, almost bleak picture of her attitude toward life just before everything changed. As we look at these, you'll really start to see why idea construction would be such a, well, revelation for her.
And she herself admits that at the time, she wasn't sitting there clinically examining her subjective state.
She was just living it.
She was just expressing it. She genuinely believed life was how she perceived it. It never occurred to her that her own underlying attitude might be, impacting that perception.
It was her reality.
It was her objective reality, as far as she was concerned.
Okay, let's dig into some of these poems. There's one called 1+1, where she writes about arithmetic destroying us, and subtraction is the answer, with division and subtraction adding up to death.
Yeah, pretty stark. She wrote it feeling life just had very little meaning.
A truly bleak view.
That poem, and another one. On this foggy day, where all thoughts just fall to a sudden end and slip into a time-made hole, they really capture this sense of profound existential futility.
Like thinking itself just dissolves into nothing.
Exactly. A feeling of thought itself leading nowhere but dissolution.
Then we have Miracle, which was apparently sparked by her husband Rob's serious back illness that year.
Right.
She describes it as expressing feelings quite common in early adulthood. The lines are incredibly raw. But then blood and flesh knew it was blood and flesh, and howled out its frustration, and what ignited my life was my candid fragility.
That's a powerful passage, isn't it? It really highlights the vulnerability, that raw encounter with physical limits.
Yeah.
And she connects it to a universal coming-of-age thing. It's that moment when you confront your own mortality, maybe, or the sheer limits of your physical body, and it feels shattering, but also, like she says, an ignition.
An ignition. Interesting. Her poem to Rob also reveals this deepening panic about passing years, urging them to deeply leap into worlds before they become old and cowardly.
That fear of time running out.
But the despair seems to go even deeper, touching on the fundamental value of life itself.
Yes, apparently the death of a small cat led her to question the very uniqueness of life and the value of consciousness.
Wow, from a cat.
Yeah, and she felt this strange guilt even thinking about it when humans kill each other. But she concluded, either all life is sacred or none is sacred.
That's huge.
It really is. That statement, born from what seems like a small event, is incredibly profound.
Yeah.
It forces us to consider, do we apply that kind of universal, unshakable value to all existence?
Or do we just arbitrarily decide what matters?
Exactly. Do we compartmentalize its worth based on species or intelligence or whatever?
Yeah.
It's a radical thought, especially for someone grappling with the meaning of it all.
And from that point, she sees humans just perpetuating errors, these old grievances passed down, forgotten ghosts in the blood.
A cycle of negativity.
Yeah, and her most pessimistic poem, called Those Conditions, describes digging her own grave, laughing as doom is a toy ball, and their laughter, like ashes, just scatters across the land. It's a truly bleak vision.
You can feel the intensity of this dark night of the soul she went through. It's palpable in those words.
Absolutely.
Her rational mind, her creative faculties, as she saw them, they'd reached their peak, their limit. And she felt nature itself was just a secondhand god, mechanically reusing leaves, no real wonder left.
Just recycle.
Yeah. And this kind of total intellectual and emotional exhaustion, it often comes right before a significant shift. Precisely because the old ways of understanding have just utterly failed.
It's a complete breakdown of the old meaning.
It's ripping away, yeah.
But then, amidst all this profound pessimism, something utterly incredible happened in that very same month, May.
Right in the middle of it all.
She recalls this sudden shift in emotion, a spiritual uplift, she called it, reflected in two strikingly different poems. It's like a lightning bolt through all that darkness.
This abrupt change, despite how bleak things were just moments before, it's a really clear indicator that some internal process was starting to break through.
The pressure cooker effect.
Maybe. It's almost as if the sheer pressure of her despair, that acute need we talked about, created this necessary opening, a channel for something completely new to emerge.
Okay, so the first of these transformative poems was Birthday. In it, she declared, I will never come of age, but I will grow wise, like a mad holy infant with ghosts in my brain.
Wow, what imagery.
Isn't it? She describes running to the river at midnight, barking at the moon with fish and birds and sky and sand splashing in my blood.
That is just a vibrant, almost chaotic explosion of a completely new kind of awareness.
Yeah.
It's this visceral, untamed connection to the natural world.
Yeah.
A boundless sense of self that's just the total opposite of her earlier despair.
Like embracing some primal wisdom.
Exactly. A wisdom that maybe defies conventional growing up. She's tapping into something much bigger than her previous self.
And then, just 2 days later, she wrote Skin.
Okay.
She describes skin as a cross-woven mesh of flesh, tasting like peach, feeling like peach fuzz, but also like peeking through a fence with a million wires guarding a hidden landscape.
A fence that reveals.
Yeah, that imagery feels like a premonition, doesn't it? And it's particularly significant that Seth, later on, actually mentioned this poem.
Oh, really? What did he say?
He mentioned it as an indicator, a sign that her inner knowledge was almost ready to burst into consciousness.
Ah, okay. So connecting this to the bigger picture then, these two poems, Birthday and Skin, they really signify the opening of those new channels she so desperately needed.
The ones born out of that need.
Exactly. And the Skin poem especially suggests this dawning perception of an intricate, layered reality existing right underneath the physical.
That hidden landscape.
That hidden landscape behind the million wires of the flesh.
Yeah.
That's her conscious mind starting to sense what Seth would later articulate as the inner universe.
Her first glimpse.
Her first raw glimpse that physical reality isn't the whole story, that there's this profound energetic structure underneath it all.
So this takes us right to the core of our deep dive.
Right.
How did these intensely personal experiences, this journey through despair, and the sudden glimpse of a layered reality, how did that become the gateway to something as profound and, well, foundational as idea construction and the arrival of Seth? What's the actual link there?
Well, the author herself firmly believed that the intense need, the sheer need evident in those poems, especially the last two, was the undeniable catalyst.
The driving force.
Absolutely. She felt her rational, ordinary creativity had just peaked. It had hit its limit. And when she most desperately needed new channels for understanding, that's when they opened.
Right.
She even speculates that these channels open up precisely when we stop relying only on external answers and really experience that profound sense of internal insufficiency we talked about earlier.
It's a crisis of meaning that demands a whole new way of seeing.
Exactly. A new paradigm.
And this initial introduction to non-physical information, this very personal idea construction experience, it was absolutely crucial for her, wasn't it?
Oh, completely.
She states pretty unequivocally that without that experience first, she could never have accepted Seth or the Seth material as legitimate.
It wasn't just an intellectual thing for her?
No, it had to be experiential.
Precisely. And what's so compelling here is how this invasive, unconscious data, once she started to integrate it, possessed enough energy, enough impetus, not just to fundamentally change her own life, but also to profoundly influence the experiences and understanding of, well, countless others through the books.
Right.
It really demonstrates how our inner core, maybe through subjective inspiration in waking life or dreams or trance states, is constantly offering us aid and guidance, pushing us toward a greater understanding.
This journey, then, it leads us directly to the heart of this deep dive, Seth himself. Now, for listeners who might be familiar with this work, we're talking about Seth, the non-physical entity channeled by the author Jane Roberts.
That's right, whose teachings offer this really unique perspective on consciousness and reality.
And this particular book we're drawing from is primarily about Seth's theories on the nature of dreams and how to effectively use them.
Yes, and significantly, before he dives right into the specifics of dreams and how to interpret them, Seth provides this foundational explanation of human consciousness's natural mobility.
Natural mobility.
Yeah, he outlines the main features of this inner universe, of the very one the author glimpsed in her poem, Skin, remember?
The hidden landscape.
Exactly, which he says is visible and accessible in both waking and dream states. And he describes this inner universe as the energetic basis of physical reality itself.
Okay, could you elaborate just a bit on that natural mobility of consciousness for someone who might be newer to Seth's work? What does that really mean for how we as individuals sort of navigate or experience this inner universe? Is it about consciously shifting our awareness, or is it something just inherent to us?
That's an excellent question, and it's absolutely crucial for getting Seth's framework. Seth explains that our consciousness isn't static. It's not just confined to the physical brain.
Okay.
It possesses this inherent mobility, a capacity to travel, perceive, and operate across different layers, or you could say dimensions, of this inner reality.
So it's not just when we sleep.
No, and this isn't just something that happens when we sleep or go into a trance. This mobility is constant, often happening unconsciously, even right now in our waking lives.
Like intuition.
For instance, yeah. When you suddenly get a flash of intuition or a creative insight out of nowhere, that's a brief, maybe conscious recognition of this deeper mobility at play.
Oh, okay.
Dreams, then, are a primary and really direct expression of this natural, expanded awareness. They allow us to actively create, learn, and experience way beyond physical limitations.
So understanding this mobility is key.
It's absolutely key to unlocking the full potential of dreams and also our own inner creative power, because according to Seth, our thoughts in this inner universe are what actually construct our physical reality.
Wow. What an incredible journey we've really traced today, from the depths of personal despair and questioning.
Right through the raw beauty of that poetry.
Capturing that vulnerable moment, all the way to the revelation of an inner universe and the profound teachings of Seth. It's just such a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest crises of understanding, those moments of profound internal need, can unlock the most extraordinary insights.
It really underscores the idea, doesn't it? This exploration of the author's subjective beginning, culminating in Seth's teachings, it highlights that our personal experiences are never truly isolated.
They're connected.
Intimately connected to a broader inner reality. And that connection is always available to us, often through unexpected routes like dreams or those intuitive flashes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. What hidden needs might you have? Needs that, if truly faced and acknowledged, could perhaps open the door to your own inner universe.
And maybe reveal surprising insights about the true nature of your reality.
What might your own subjective experiences be trying to tell you about the power, the sheer potential of your own consciousness?
Perhaps that true mobility of consciousness isn't just some abstract philosophical concept. Maybe it's a living, breathing aspect of your own existence, just waiting to be consciously explored.
Your dreams, your gut feelings, your creative sparks.
They might just be portals.
Thank you for joining us on the Dup Dive. We really hope this has given you something provocative to think about.